He's the gentleman that took out the United Healthcare CEO. I think his name was Brian Thompson. This happened at the end of 2024. He was caught. He's been going through a trial. And as of right now, the judge in his case in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has decided that the terror-related murder charges against Luigi Mangione are not justified. Let's go over to CNN. Let's get the full story so you guys can be on the same page as me and we can talk about this. It says the Manhattan District Attorney's terrorism case against Luigi Mangione fell apart on Tuesday as a New York judge found the evidence had not established he committed a terroristic act by allegedly United Healthcare CEO. It's funny that they always say allegedly even when the person admits it. I guess it's a way to prevent them from libel until the conviction. But sometimes you know exactly what happened. But I'm going to say allegedly because I'm a lot smaller than them and I don't want to be on the receiving end of any lawsuits. He allegedly the guy and they found him with a backpack, a manifesto, a weapon, all of that stuff. So allegedly he did it. The decision to dismiss the two top charges against Mangione, murder in the first degree in furtherance of an act of terrorism and murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism, marked a victory for the 27-year-old who could have faced a mandatory life sentence. Still, he faces a count of second-degree murder that could result in a sentence of 25 to life if convicted, and a separate federal death penalty prosecution. So they dropped the terrorism charges. He's not going to be facing those. It didn't really make sense in the first place because it was only one person, right? From what I understand, those charges were implemented, and the point of them was to combat and prosecute the people that had been caught during 9/11, right? That was very, very obviously a terroristic act, but because of so much vitriol aimed at Luigi Mangione, they were trying to tackle on anything. That's what they do. They tackle on a bunch of stuff. They try to see what sticks, and apparently the judge is not falling for it. They're like, yo, this is a single person. This is not a ring of crime. And we don't have anything to substantiate this being an act of terrorism. But they try to do what they do with the RICO. Just, catch you under every single thing that they can. And then if they can get one, then they win. Not in this case. I guess this is from the judge. It says there's no evidence presented of a desire to terrorize the public, inspire widespread fear, engage in a broader campaign of violence, or to conspire with organized terrorist groups. From the judge who wrote a decision on this on Tuesday, the killing of Brian Thompson was very different, he said. From the examples of terrorism laid out in the New York statute, prosecutors cited to charge Mangione with terror-related murder charges, in part because his alleged act targeted just a single person. That's right. The public, we as the public already had made up our mind that this didn't make sense, but that's how the law works. They try to railroad you with as many charges as they can, see which one sticks, and eventually the goal is to ruin your life. So he still ruined his life. He threw his life away by what he did, which, you got to ask yourself, did you really affect the change that you were trying to affect? Or did you just take your anger out about your back on somebody that may or may not have had something directly to do with your grievance, right? That's something only Luigi Mangione can answer, but you got to ask yourself that. And more on that, the stock did plummet after Luigi Mangione, after this incident. The stock did plummet, but it went right back up because Warren Buffett ended up investing in the company. He's always looking for distressed assets. He found an opportunity, and it is what it is, right? So you didn't really affect the change that you're trying to affect. You affected the industry temporarily by taking this guy out and making the stock plummet. But then you went on to make one of the wealthiest gentlemen in the entire United States and entire world even more wealthy. So you're not the social advocate and martyr that you thought that you were. It says, it is well-reasoned decision in my views. I think it's a decision that the judge really justifies in terms of the facts of the law. And I think that it took a lot of courage for a judge in a very high profile case not to be like, whatever, it's close enough, let's go. That's not what this judge did. You guys can let me know what you think about the entire Luigi Mangione situation. As of right now, he's not going to be getting the terrorist charges. And in my opinion, that is the right way to go. Not because I agree with anything that he did, but you can't just make up a charge because you don't like the thing that somebody did and be like, oh, well, we're going to stick them with this so we could de-incentivize people to do it again. Yes, people have to be de-incentivized from violent acts and all of that stuff, 100%. But we have to use the laws for the intent that they were given, or we diminish the impact of charging people with certain things, right? If you're going to say the gentleman that ended up taking out Charlie Kirk, if you're going to say that was an act of terrorism, it was directly politically motivated. It did work to incite fear in a ton of people that were there to debate their ideology, right? That is more in line with what I would consider an act of terrorism, even though it also targeted one person, than what happened with Luigi Mangione. So in my unexpert opinion on what the judge should be able to allow and disallow, I agree with him on it. You guys can let me know what you think. And that's it for Luigi Mangione.